All right, what we're doing here is called mashing in. That is simply the combination of grain and hot water. We introduce our grain into water that's about 185 degrees. And what happens is, with the stirring, the agitation to keep it from clumping, the high temperature and the enzymes contained in the malted barley that we put in addition to the grain will convert the starch into grain to sugar. That's the first step leading up to whiskey. This is the mashing in, takes 3 to 4 hours for that conversion to take place. And then the next step will be fermentation, the changing of sugar to alcohol.
Okay, this is the next step in the distilling process. These are what we call our double copper pot distillation stills. These are my family's original stills. They are the oldest working stills in America today, and they are 1820, circa 1820, could even be a few years older, not real sure. But anyway, they were in use for 100 years, and the old girls do know what they're doing. So what we do is, once that ferment that you saw in the previous shot is, the mash is fermented for 3 to 4 days, then we'll bring it in here and we will fill the whiskey still, the still number 1, or the singler as we call her, and then we will heat it up to temperature, which is about 176 degrees. And so basically this is a scientific process. Will go from a liquid, it will be created in that cap, it will become a vapor. It will escape out the gooseneck of the cap, move through the heater tub up there, exit over here until you get to the worm tub number 1, and then it becomes, that vapor hits that cold water and then it condenses down and becomes a liquid once again. We will collect as much as we can here in our high-tech roll-around little collection thing here. And once it is collected, then we will distill it one more time, and it moves to the next still. And so that still number 2 over there is called the doubler. And so that means that it basically increases the proof. The first still, the whiskey will come out about 50 proof. The second still, the whiskey will be running about 145 proof. So big difference in that process, and that also that alcohol process. So that's why you want to redistill your whiskey. You want a higher proof whiskey. So that is basically our process. We keep everything in copper as much as we possibly can because that is very important for taste, and also it's truly old-fashioned that way. Okay, this is what we would consider the final process of the distillation process. We are filtering rye whiskey here, and as you can see, it's nice and dark in color. We filter it, and then once we are completed with that, we will bottle, we will label, and we will dip it in wax in our crock pot. And then here is our finished product. This is our unaged rye whiskey, aged rye whiskey, aged corn, which is our bourbon, and unaged corn whiskey.